Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, February 16th. It is 6:22 right now. Market's going to open in about 8 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and then we'll get started with our analysis shortly. Just a couple of things here to update. Looks good. All right, a few more things here. And we should be good to go. All right, solid. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. I'll make sure to mute everybody this time. All right, there we go. All right, I'll give it a few moments for people to make their way in. And then we will get started shortly. All right. Hey, Kenny, how's it going? Morning. Morning, Karen. Morning, Peter. Morning, everybody. So, all right, guys. Looks like about a few guys are in here so far, so I'll give a few more moments for people to continue making their way in. Didn't post this on one other place. The Instagram real quick. One last place here. All right, solid, guys. Links posted up. Looks like people are still making their way in. So good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, February 16th. It's 6:25 right now. Market's going to open in about 5 minutes. So we'll get started shortly. Let's start off with the news for today. So let me check the calendar. I believe there was news today at 5:30, I think. It was CPI news. Or PPI. So we had inflation news right here at 5:30, unemployment claims, building permits, more news at 7:30. So news at 5:30, news at 7:30. I'm going to go and mark that up over here on our 1 minute candle real quick. So news coming up right here at 7:30. And then we had news over here at 5:30. Of course, you guys can see the big push down. Of course, we already anticipated inflation was going to be bad. We're going to depression. So typically, our default direction is always going to be down. That's always going to be the default direction. But it's not always going to play out like that. It's just where we anticipate price to go. So let's see what else is here. Morning, Nice. Morning, View. Morning, T. Morning, Gary. Morning, everybody. Morning, Shaka. Morning, Christian. Morning, Martha. Morning, Maria. Morning, Karen. Morning, everybody. All right, guys. So it's 6:27 right now. Market's going to open in about 3 minutes. Let me check the other calendar real quick on my FX book to see if there's any other news events that I've missed. But I think that's pretty much it. There's news here at 5:30. There's news at 5:45 as well, actually. It's not really news, but Fed Mester is speaking. I think he's probably still speaking now. Other than that, news at 7:30 and then news at 8:30, which will be fine because we're going to be done trading by then. So, all right, we only have one more news event right here at 7:30, and we'll see how that ends up. pushing price around. But as you can see, price is pretty down, and it's now just going sideways around the sessions. So we'll see what happens when the market opens. Either it's going to correct back up. So two different price points where price will likely push to. It'll either correct back up and retest the news price up here, or it may continue dropping further, right? I don't know if there's any other structure down here, but there's no other structure down there to really aim for. But yeah, if price goes up, it's probably going to go and retest the news price. But if price goes down, there's no real area for us to focus on target wise, but we'll see when the market is open shortly. But everything here is bearish. Obviously, you can see here on the 1, 5, and 10 prices below the pivots, trend meters red, pivots are angling down. So we're obviously looking for sells right now. Same with the 30-minute, 1 hour, and 10-minute. But as you guys can see, prices dropped super heavily, and it's due for retracement. If you want to measure it from up here, this is the high point. Prices dropped down about 4,000 pips. So yeah, it's due to retrace at some point, which can happen, you know, possibly on open here. So we'll see what happens. If you guys do want to take the breakout 2.0, looks like the breakout 2.0 is going to be a sell. But, you know, as I mentioned, price is way too overextended right now. So I probably would hold off on it because it's due for retracement at some point. Last thing you want to do is enter a sell, taking the breakout 2.0, and then, you know, price ends up retracing super hard. So if you do want to take the breakout 2.0, I'd probably wait. I wouldn't recommend taking it right away. I probably wouldn't even recommend taking the breakout 2.0 at all, because if you guys remember the rules for the breakout 2.0, you have to avoid this during heavy news days. Today's a very heavy news day, so it's not necessarily going to be an entry I recommend you guys take right here. Note, avoid entries on pre-market high impact news days like today. So no breakout 2.0 for today. Market is opening in about 10 seconds. So let's see what happens right here in the next few minutes. Obviously, we're looking for a sell here, but let's see what happens when the market actually opens. Okay, so market is now open, guys. Let me go ahead and mark up opening price, which is going to be right there. All right, solid, guys. So we're still looking for a sell here, but as I mentioned, we're waiting for the retracement, right? So I'm going to go up here and maximize the 1 minute. I'm going to put the entries or strategies that we're applying over here. Momentum scalp failure. Momentum scalp variation. And momentum scalp. All right, guys, market is now open. You guys can see prices moving kind of slow. This is opening price right here. So two different price targets, right? Price is either going to push up and retrace all the way back up to news price, because this is technically where price is supposed to be. So as you can see up here, if you look closer, price is technically supposed to be up here right now. Like this is regular price area, because this is where price was before the news happened. News happened right here, and then price just dumped super heavily. So if price does retrace back up, this is going to be the target price point for price to reach, right? This is going to be target price. However, you know, price might not go all the way up there. If price pushes up slightly, then it may push up slightly and then come right back down to opening price, because proper direction is going to be down here. What we're worried about is the retracement. So we actually want the retracement to play out. And then if price ends up coming back down, then our target price point is going to be right back at opening price. So I actually want price to retrace up kind of heavy. I want this to push up. And then when it comes back down, I'll be ready to look for that drop. What I'll be looking for here as well in the higher time frames is I'll be looking for price to push up and reject off the pivots, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. I actually want price to push up, reject off the pivots, and come back down. Because if you guys have noticed, like for the past couple days and weeks, that's kind of the setup that we're looking for. We're looking for price to retrace up, bounce off one of the pivots or all the pivots on all the time frames, and then confirm the correction back to the downside. So I do think price will come back down, but I want it to actually retrace up a little bit, because the last thing I want to do is enter a sell and then price just ends up coming back down super heavy, right? So we have a wick rejection right here on the one. I'm gonna go ahead and open all the time frames so we can see how everything's moving. But yeah, that's kind of the direction that we're looking for here. Looking for this to push up. And then gonna look for it to retrace back down. I don't want it to just come right back down because it still has to retrace. So go ahead and maximize that right now. And then we'll follow this and see where it, ends up going. I mean, it doesn't have to go up all the way. I mean, just go up slightly, but I want to make sure that we're waiting for that here. Let me go to turn on my alerts as well. Hey, Frederick, how's it going? Frederick mentioned CNBC posted their news. Dow falls more than 250 points after another hot inflation report. Yeah, so with them reporting about the fall, I think price is going to push up because, typically market will do the opposite. You guys have probably seen the memes. There's like these memes called the Kramer effect. Kramer is one of the speakers on CNBC. Basically, whatever he does, the market does the opposite. So CNBC is reporting prices dropping, then price is probably going to be pushing up a little bit. I know it's a joke, but it really does happen. It's true. So I typically do the opposite of like whatever CNBC mentions. So we'll see where price ends up pushing right here. It's still kind of far, so there's not really much of a direction just yet. Yeah, Christian said, yeah, I need a considerate retracement. Yeah, because it's way too far down, guys. Like you don't want to chase a sell here, and then price ends up, going the complete opposite of you. I mean, I do think price will come back down, but I'm not really going to risk it right now, especially. Here we go. As price comes back down. As I mentioned earlier, target price point, there's two different target price points. It's going to be opening price, which price just came down to. But I'm still expecting price to push up, to some extent up here. So just a matter of time, guys. I'm going to step away for 1 second, guys. I'll be here on the chart. I'm just going to take my vitamins real quick. All right, guys, I'm back. All right, as you guys can see right here, price is rejecting directly off opening price. Again, this might be another rejection and correction back to the upside. But for the most part, I'm really waiting for that correction back up. We don't have it yet. If I see a wick rejection off the 1, 5, and 10, so we did have a wick rejection right here. If you guys can see on the 5, price did reject off that point, and price did reject off it here on the 1 minute as well. So I mean, if I was looking for a speculative sell, it would have happened like somewhere around here, but I'm not necessarily looking for that right now. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of rejections off the pivots also right here. This will probably drop down a little bit. But again, as I mentioned, it's still a little bit of a risky time to make sell entries here, but I'm looking at these wick rejections and seeing where price is pushing, because I think there's enough space here to possibly take like at least like these 100 pip pushes down in that direction. So the sell would have happened like right there. It looks like it blasted right through to the 100 pips. So as you guys can see, price is still dropping, but it is considerably risky. I took a quick sell right there. I only locked in 700. Some slippage, unfortunately. So I'm going to be taking these speculative sells, guys, as I see these rejection points, but they're not necessarily good entries, not yet, because I'm still waiting for that retracement. So what I'm typically looking for, guys, is I'm looking for these wick rejections, right? If I see them light up on different time frames, then odds of it pushing down at least 100 pips are very likely. We don't have anything here on the higher time frames. That's kind of what I've been doing lately, because if you look at the market that way and you can identify the bounces, then price typically goes at least 100 pips. So I took a quick little push there. Not really a good move because there's no rejection here on the higher time frames. So like the confluences here are a little bit smaller. We had one wick rejection right here on the 1, and then one wick rejection right there on the 5. So that's why I kind of anticipated a possible little push down at least. But due to slippage here, I only locked in about like less than $1,000. So it wasn't really worth the risk. I don't know what happened with the slippage here, but it did knock me out for just slightly. I didn't even get the green strip on mine either. So I locked in 710 off my main account, 560 off my MFF number 1, 540 off my MFF number 2, and 540 off my MFF number 3. So I'll just take little screenshots of that. But there's no official entries right here. You know, I'll continue to just take trades on my own, but I'll let you guys know when, you know, the official entries actually come up. So there's one right here that's possible pending. If this green signal closes, this is technically a momentum scalp failure as long as the volume is below average. So it didn't close and the volume was right below it. So whenever I see opportunities for like a quick little scalp, I'll be taking these entries, guys. Of course, none of them are going to be official entries. I'll try to give you guys hints whenever I see these opportunities come up, but for the most part, they're going to be quick little moves. So it's not really enough to think about it. Yeah, it looks like I just got in for a late entry right there. Anyways, we're looking for that retracement momentum signal. Okay, if this here closes, this is not going to be a momentum scalp failure. The reason why it wouldn't be is because the volume here is above average. So no entry there. All right, so we're still waiting for some sort of confirmation for entry, but nothing there yet. You guys got to also understand that, you know, there's not going to be official entries every day. I mean, for the past couple of days, there hasn't been any official entries, unfortunately. But if you guys wait for it, it'll happen eventually. Just a matter of patience here. Parker is asking, I'm curious if your spec moves are hitting consistently, why not call them and have them be official trades? You take low risk overall. So I'm assuming most of us would take the risk. The thing is, most people can't follow directions, Parker, right? Because I've been actually telling you guys where the entries are coming. So if you hadn't been taking them, you know, whether I make them official or not, you still wouldn't take them, right? Because you don't understand what's going on. Official entries are these 3 strategies right here, right? I already made that clear, like from the beginning of the year. These are the only strategies we're applying that are official. So if they're not one of these 3 strategies, they're not going to be official. So I can't be calling like 20 unofficial trades and then people are getting upset because we're focusing on these official trades here. What I'm trying to get across to you, like not just you specifically, but in general, is consistency and discipline, right? Because obviously I'm able to take these trades and other people who are more advanced traders are able to take these trades. The only people who aren't taking them are the new beginner traders or people who aren't familiar with what's going on the chart. So yeah, of course they're consistently hitting, but if I'm calling them as official trades, I got to explain them detail by detail when they come up, right? I don't have time to do that. We have time to focus on these as official trades. But if I'm telling you, okay, Parker, and if this happens and this happens and this happens and take this trade, then there goes my focus for my own entry, right? So do you understand what I'm saying with that? Like there's speculative trades here, but they're meant for people who know what they're doing, like specifically myself. Yeah, and like Natasha mentioned right here, they're really quick moves too. Like I don't have time to tell you, okay, Parker, look at this, that, and the other. If you have the strategies, then you can go ahead and look at them yourself, right? Because there's 20 different strategies there that you can apply. So the thing with that is you guys will see like there hasn't been any official trades coming up lately because none of these requirements have been lining up. But I'm also not wasting my time kind of explaining all these strategies to you. Because the thing is, if you're looking at too many things on the chart and you still can't get like these basic things down, not you specifically, but in general, for people in the group, there's just going to be a lot of confusion, right? I can't teach you like 20 strategies every single day, because then you won't know exactly what strategy to follow. So that's the main reason why they can't be called official trades. They're not official trades because there's no official strategy for them. Like, we're taking trades off speculation. That's the whole point of them being speculative, right? If they weren't speculative, they'd be official, but they are speculative because there's no official requirements for these specific strategies. Yeah, you can't like, so the thing with this is like, and we've discussed this with like a lot of people in the group too, like you can't please everybody, right? Like I know some people want to take these speculative moves, but then they don't want to learn anything. Because if you really want to learn these speculative moves, and this goes out to everybody in the group, just rewatch the live sessions, right? You guys will understand because I give you guys my analysis every day. So if you guys want to go on and actually understand what I'm doing, just go on and rewatch the live sessions from yesterday, watch the live session from the day before that, and etc. But odds are majority of people are not going to go back and watch those live sessions, right? Because a lot of people don't want to actually do the work. They just want to follow what I'm doing here. And it's just, it's just, you gotta put in the work to actually know what's going on here. So just keep that in mind, guys. I don't know. Does that make sense to you, Parker? Because I just want to answer your question and, be as thorough as possible, because it's not as easy as it looks like. Like, yeah, of course, I'm making it look easy by taking trades here. And of course, other people are making it look easy as well, right? Like Jay over here took trades too. And he's taking his own speculative trades off my analysis, but I didn't even call any buys here. I took a sell. So yeah, if you want to do what I'm doing and you want to be on the same level of trading, not just as me, but as, like Jay here, he's taking trades off my analysis because I mentioned, okay, price pushes up. It's got to push up to this structure up here. You got to put in the work. You can't have everything hand fed to you, specifically, with these strategies here that we're applying. But if you want to take these yourself, Parker, I mean, I already made the thing as clear as possible, right? I'm looking for rejections off the pivots. So rejections off the pivots here, rejections off the pivots here, etc. But they're not official trades because there's no strategy. You want me just because if I was to create a new strategy, I'll just call it pivot rejection. But we have other strategies with a similar name. Yeah, exactly. Cern said, or asking the mentoring sessions. Yeah, and Shannon said she gets it. It's like back testing. Yeah, morning, Shannon. Yeah. So yeah, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it, right? There's maybe half of the people here who are taking these speculative moves with me. But there's just too much going on the chart for me to teach everybody this specifically. And not everyone's on the same level of trading. All right, so there's still no entries over here, guys, for the official entries. We're still looking for that momentum scalp failure, but we just don't have it yet. So looking at this over here, momentum scalp failure, we're looking for a buy signal to come up. The buy signal came up here, but it didn't meet criteria because volume was above average. There's another entry that could possibly be coming up at some point. There was an entry right here for momentum scalp variation, but it was right at the opening price. Next up, we're looking for momentum scalp, which is a sell signal, but price again is at opening price right here. So that's another thing right here, guys. There's another reason why these can't be official entries, right? Because what have I been teaching you guys for like the past year? The red flags, right? The speculative moves happen where the red flags are. So, trading is a skill that you guys learn over time. It's not something that I can just tell you to do. I can teach you guys these requirements and these strategies, but this doesn't necessarily mean you're going to follow them properly. Like I think earlier this week, we had an entry that came up was a momentum scalp variation. And I literally told people not to take it, but then some people still took it. And then what happened from there? They lost the trade. But we already identified it was risky because it was at a red flag. So just keep that in mind, guys. There's different moving pieces here. If you want to trade speculative moves, then you got to put in the work and actually understand what we're doing here. So, all right, guys, there's nothing here yet going on. Let me see if there's anything else for me to look at over here. So a couple more profits over here as well. Profits over here from let me check real quick. From Ensong. So Ensong over here took a couple trades. Oh, I didn't realize I moved my charts. Let me go and bring this back to the 6:30 time here. So this is a clean chart, guys. I'm marking up the areas here from market open up until 8 o'clock to show you guys the direction of price. As you guys can see again over here, there's no direction of price. Market open right here at 6:30, and price is going back and forth at this moment. It's just a back and forth movement. There's no direction. We want price to either push above or price to push below, but we do not have either of that yet. I mean, price just keeps going sideways right here where opening price is currently at. So still nothing for us to take at the moment. There is a pending sell signal right here. If the sell signal here closes, it's technically going to be a momentum scalp entry. However, again, it's right next to the opening price. If this here closes with an above average volume, then I'll possibly take it for a momentum scalp entry, but it does not look like that's going to happen here. So all the criteria is met here for momentum scalp. Everything here is bearish. Momentum's on the 5, 10, and 1. The main thing here that you want to look for is, or for me personally, is I'm looking for volume to be above average, because if volume is low, I'm not expecting it to really push through. So the sell signal here, as you guys can see, it's not very strong. The sell signal will come up and then it'll retrace right back up. And that's how I can predetermine whether the candle is going to be strong enough to continue pushing. So again, right here, another pending sell signal. We had a pending sell signal for about 3 candles now. We had a sell signal here pending, it didn't close. Another sell signal here pending, didn't close. And then right here, another pending sell signal. But again, it has not yet closed. Volume right here is still below average. So I'm pretty much just looking at this right here, the volume bar, and I'm trying to confirm whether it's above average or not. Again, right here, another failed close. Daniel, so the sell breakout was a full TP. Nice work, Daniel. Yeah, I think that came up earlier over here, right? Yeah, so just looking over here at the 1-minute candles, it looks like the entry probably came up like up here. Yeah, it looks like the sell entry might have came up there. But anyways, guys, there's no momentum scalp here. As you guys can see, these past 3 candles tried to close with the sell signal. It didn't close. Volume over here has still been below average. Here we go with price retracing back up. But still nothing there. Question from Jenny. Jenny's asking, what if it were to break those lows with a momentum scalp? If it was to break the lows with the momentum scalp, then it would be a triple confluence, Jenny. Let's see, Dr. Pam's asking, would that be a speculative move for momentum since the signal didn't close? So there was actually no entry there, Pam. We were waiting for it to actually close. So if it did close, then it would be an entry. That's what we were waiting for. But since it didn't close, there was no entry there. This right here would have been a possible speculative sell though, because the wick rejection off the pivot right there. So you guys can see how these hints start to play in, right? So you see the wick rejection right here. It continues to try and close with a sell signal, but it still hasn't, obviously closed yet. I don't think it's necessarily a good one yet because the 5 over here didn't have a sell signal either. Or not a sell signal, but it didn't have a wick rejection off here. There's a wick rejection on this point, but I think price will keep pushing up and then eventually it'll have like, a stronger wick rejection off one of these other points. Because if you get a multiple confluence or you get a wick rejection off the 1 minute, wick rejection off the 5, then odds of it pushing down are more likely. The main thing here that I'm kind of concerned about is going to be that sell signal, which keeps attempting to close, but it hasn't closed yet. So this right here would technically be a momentum scalp entry, guys. So let me go and mark it up for you guys real quick, just to show you guys where that momentum scalp entry would have been right here. I'm not in that position, or actually, let me see if I can get into this. I was waiting for the volume here to be above average though. So the volume here was not above average. And that's the main thing I was looking for, because if volume was above average, then I would expect enough volatility to push it down even further to just, blast through my TP. So I'm not in this position right here, but this is what we were looking for at the time. This is mainly the entry here. Let's see, but it is, we're rejecting off the wick. Let me see if I can maybe get this for a late entry here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a sell stop right there. And if it blasts right through, it's gonna go straight to my TP. You see, I'm still trying to set it up on my MC4 over here. Oh, I got in. Okay, so that was super quick. When it pulled back right here, I tried to set it up on my MC4 for that late entry that I mentioned. It did set up, and then it closed. For some reason, I'm not getting the green strip here. I don't know if it's slippage or whatever's going on, but it did hit my TP. I only locked a 970 off it. Let me check what the other accounts gave me. So what I'll do here is I'll give a little update. This little update was for the momentum scalp that we were identifying here. As you guys can see, the entries don't always come up in order, but when they do come up, they still come up at a later time. Like this over here was an invalid momentum scalp failure. This one over here was a momentum scalp variation because it closed below, but it was at the opening price. So this was a red flag. This over here was out in the open. So this over here was a momentum scalp. Overall trend was bearish. We had to sell momentum on the 5, 10, and 1. Enter on the close of the momentum candle right here, and that was the entry. So this is why I took it, because it was an official entry with regard to momentum scalp. But I took it later because there was no volume there. If the volume was right away, I would have just entered right at the candle close. But since the volume was kind of low, I waited for it to pull back, and then I entered the sell stop right there, and then it filled it, went straight to TP. So again, guys, if you guys listen to my analysis here, you guys will see that we've been waiting for this momentum scalp since this earlier candle right here. So for the past, 5-10 minutes here, I was mentioning, okay, if this here closes with a sell signal, then it's going to be a momentum scalp. I said, if it closes with the volume above average, then I'm for sure going to enter it. The thing here, the volume is below average. So what I did was I waited for it to retrace up a little bit. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to enter it, put my sell stop there. And it blasted right through and went straight to my TP. So that's the trade that I took right there. Let me go and just push this over here real quick. Nice. Ensong actually took it too. So we took it right there as well. Total profit of 345 for the day. So nice work right there, Ensong. Yeah, that's the momentum scalp. So Nick said, I just didn't enter because of the volume. So the thing that you guys got to keep in mind is that volume is not a requirement for that strategy, right? I mean, it's better to be safer taking a trade like that with volume above average. That's why I was waiting for it personally. But when price pulled back, then I put a sell stop there and I just caught it as it came down. So just keep in mind that, you don't want to get caught on only taking trades with volume. I mean, you can if you want, Nick, but, obviously you want to be careful about taking those types of trades. Yeah, exactly. Nick said he lost a trade the other day when volume wasn't any good. Yeah, that's why I personally look at volume there, because the volume is usually going to be the indicator as to whether price is going to keep pushing in that direction or not. So I'll post up my profits real quick. That's the trade that I took right there. We anticipated it, played out perfect, but I did make partial profits on it again. I don't know what's up with the market today or my accounts, but I'm not getting any of the green strips. So here we go right there, another profit on my end off that trade. That's the first official entry for, this week so far, which is not the best because it's Thursday. We're expecting, at least more profits by now, or more official entries at least. So let's see. Yeah, all my accounts are different too. So my main account right there. All All right, so what we're looking for now is we're looking for everything to start over. So we had the whole setup play out. We had the momentum scalp failure that came up, but it was invalid because the volume was above average. We had the momentum scalp variation come up. It was at a red flag, so that we didn't take that actual entry. And then the momentum scalp, which we did take. And now we're waiting for a momentum scalp failure to come up again. So we're still on a sell bias right now. And we are just waiting for it to start over. Let's see, question from, or let me just scroll up real quick. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, Jay said, great trade. Pam said, let me scroll up real quick. I'm gonna go down the questions in order, guys. There's no entries for us to take, so don't worry, we're not missing anything. Let me just post up my profits real quick too, and then we'll look over everyone's profits, and then I will answer questions back in order. So there's my main account. All right, so as you guys can see, I'm making partial profits across all my accounts. I don't know what's going on, but I guess there's just some slippage going on in the market. So here's my main account, my FTMO 400K account, locked in, total profit of 1,680. Here's my MFF number 1, 1,410. MFF number 2, 1,390. And then my MFF number 3, 1,400. So these are all the profits across all my accounts so far. Going over here, here's Christian, locking a total profit of 890. Nice work, Christian, off that trade there. We've got Martha over here, total profit of 1,070. Nice work, Martha. So Martha's green strip did light up there. I think she's the only one I've seen with the green strip so far. Actually, Christian too. He got his green strip there too. Let's see what else we got. Patrick over here, he took the trade as well. Total profit of 1,363. Nice work, Patrick. Looks like he's going back to his normal lot size. So it's starting to show. Here goes Martin. Martin locked in a total profit of 1,170. It looks like the green strip is hitting for a lot of you guys. It's just me for the most part. So total profit on Martin's account, 8,440. Nice. Yeah. So Martin here still practicing. He's on his demo, but he's now currently up 8,440. So this is going to build confidence for when he does the actual challenge. Nelly over here, total profit of 1,016, full TP on that one as well. Solid work, Nelly. So as you guys can see, a lot of people here did take the trade. Ensong over here, sorry, not Ensong, Cameron, total profit of 6,500 for the day. Took that trade right there too. Solid. And then Larishan over here, total profit of 494 earlier on that first trade. And then her second trade over here, total profit of 644. So nice work, Larishna. We have Barack over here, total profit of 704 for the day. And I think that's about it for now. Here's Seth. Seth took a trade as well. Total profit of 5,772. Nice work, Seth. And Sammy over here, lastly, total profit of 1,470. So nice work to whoever took that sell with me a while back, guys. There's a pending buy signal over here. If that buy signal closes with a below average volume, then it would technically be a momentum scalp failure, but we don't have that up here yet. So, all right, let me scroll over here real quick or let me just copy this over. 1 second to the other group. And I'm just going to save my profit post to save to the page a little later as well, because I don't want to post like a bunch of different ones and then have to review all of them. Okay, so let me go back to the chat real quick, guys. So scrolling up, Pam's asking, would that be a speculative move for momentum since this, or sorry, let me scroll down a little bit. So yeah, Pam's asking, so rejections lead to speculative moves. Yes, that is correct, Pam, but you want to look for it on multiple time frames, not just the 1 minute, right? So there's a way that CSUT trades, and you guys will see CSUT takes like a lot of trades. They'll take like I don't know if he's even on here right now. No, C6 probably asleep. This guy has like the worst sleeping pattern. This guy will wake up at like 1 a.m., go to sleep at 2, wake up at 4, and go back to sleep. So if you ever see C6 account, he's like taking like 50 or like 20 to 50 trades a day because he is taking these speculative moves where they bounce off the pivots. But the speculative moves that we're looking for, the PEM, is we're looking for the rejection on multiple time frames. So not just on the 1 minute here, but if you see a rejection here on the 1, and you also see a rejection here on the 5, and then also here on the 10, then that's usually a hint that price is going to bounce off that point and it's going to come down, you know, at least 100 pips for you to hit your TP. So short answer to your question is yes, these wick rejections do lead to speculative moves. However, you have to use a confluence, like a higher confluence. It's not just a one time frame type thing. If you see that happen on like here on the 1 hour, like for the past couple of days, you guys saw like yesterday, I locked in like 5 trades, right? But that was because we had such a strong confluence for a sell, right? So like yesterday, I took so many trades here for a sell because I saw that wick rejection off the 5, 10, 30 minute, 10 minute, and that would give me the confidence that, okay, price is going to have to at least push down 100 pips, because you guys can see here, 100 pips is not a very big move. It's a very small move. So if you can find that inconsistency in the market where price is making its bounce, you can hop in for a quick 100 pips, get in and out, lock in your $1,000 right there super quickly. So that's why I would call those speculative. And that's why they're speculative as well, because there's no specific requirement for them, right? Like, of course, I can create a strategy for that. But if I create a strategy for that, then I have to actually go and test it, figure out what other requirements are necessary. You know, it's not as easy as it looks. It looks easy when I'm doing it because I'm kind of looking at different aspects in the market. But for me to teach it as a strategy, it's hard to have like a set inline rule that to look for when looking for these speculative moves. That's the whole reason why they're speculative, because there's different confluences that can be added in to either increase the confidence or decrease the confidence of the entry. Like, for example, right here, right, there's a wick rejection off here. You could have taken that as a speculative move, but I didn't see a wick rejection over here. So that's why I wouldn't have taken it, because if you did, then you'd be in some drawdown right here because price pulled back like, 300 pips. This might have stopped you out. So that's why we don't take every speculative move. But there's always going to be other things there that will increase the possibility of it hitting. All right, so we have a pending buy signal right here, guys. If this buy signal closes and volume is below average, then this is possibly going to be a momentum scalp failure entry. I wouldn't be taking this one here directly, but I'll be looking for the next following entry for a momentum scalp variation. So just a heads up, if you guys are looking for that momentum scalp failure, however, it's not one that I'm personally looking to take right now. So this here is a momentum scalp failure entry, guys. I'm not in this position. I typically don't like taking the first entry because this here's the first leg of these strategies here. So what I'll be looking for next is I'm looking for a red candle to close right back below the pivots. And this is exactly why I wouldn't want to take it, because you're really taking a gamble here, taking the momentum scalp failure, especially when price is overextended like this. Price has been dropping about 3,000 pips from up here, right? So retracement is overdue. So price does need to push back up. And that's the main reason why I wouldn't take this specific trade, because it's due for retracement. So you guys can see price pushed down super heavy and then has not retraced up since. So this is the retracement that we've been waiting for. That's why I wouldn't take the entry here just yet. I would wait for it to come back down for a correction and a momentum scalp variation. So not in this position here, guys. But I will be looking for any possible entries for a momentum scalp variation. So some hints that price will be coming back down, because you can see how price is retracing up here. A couple hints where you can pretty much anticipate price is going to correct back down is if you see price push up and then it rejects off any of these price points, right? If it rejects off any of the pivots, rejects off the opening price here, and then you look at the same thing here on the 5. So if you're looking on the 5 here and looking for the candle here to reject off the pivot, then once you confirm that, odds of it dropping back lower are very likely. So not in this position here, but if price does close back below the pivots, that's what I'm going to be looking for. I typically don't take the momentum scalp failure. That's just the initial move there, the initial leg of the move, but not one that I personally like to take myself. Let me scroll down a little further. Natasha said she got a little early, made some profit. John had to close this manually. Jay said all my trades hit TP, but I don't know why it doesn't give me the green strips either. Yeah, I don't know. Seems like it's our problem right now. Jay. Nick mentioned, I thought the trade wouldn't be counted as official since the failure was invalid. No, so guys, here's another thing too. These strategies are standalone, right? So like, even though we have a momentum scout failure, the only entries that count as official are the ones that I'm personally taking. So possible momentum scout variation right here, guys. I don't know if I would want to take it just yet though, because the price never came up and rejected off the pivot. Here, let me see real quick. So this is like really close. You have to wait for it to actually close, but if it does close below, this is technically going to be a momentum scout variation. You gotta wait for it to actually close though. All right, so I'm not in the position yet. Let me see if I could maybe get into it right here. So this is a momentum scout variation right here, guys. I'm gonna try to get in right here. Okay, I got into the position. It's currently running. Blasted right through TP. Where's mine at? Almost there. We have a pending sell signal here. So let's see if it closes. All right, so mine closed out in profit. So I took that right there, guys. As soon as it closed, I hopped in. I was waiting for that sell signal to close, because if the sell signal closed, I probably could have held on to it a little longer, but it didn't actually close. So again, right there, guys, a quick move. It was a little tricky because we had to wait for it to actually close for the confirmation below the pivot, but it did close, and then now I'm kind of just waiting for this momentum scalp to happen after. So this right here is a momentum scalp variation that just came up right here. There's a possible momentum scalp that's still coming up, but we need that sell signal there to close. Man, this market's like, it's like there's not enough volume there. It like gets to that point and then it doesn't actually like hold long enough to continue. I don't know if the let me check real quick. I was gonna see if the momentum scalp failure actually played out. So let me go over here real quick. Yes, the momentum scalp failure actually played out too. It got close to getting stopped out, but it came back down right here and blasted right through it. Nice. Natasha took as well. Yeah, so this thing came right through a TP. I was looking for another trade to follow, but it didn't provide opportunity there with the sell signal closing. We have a wick rejection right here on the 1 minute, wick rejection on the 5. So I'm expecting price to come back down a little further, possibly another entry for a momentum scalp. All right, so this is what I was referring to earlier. So this is the hint that price is likely to come back down, right? We have the momentum, we have the rejection off the 5, rejection off the 1 here. I mean, price is still due for retracement, so I think it's still a little bit of a risky time to make entries. But see where it ends up going. This market sucks, guys. This whole week, or not just this whole week, but the past couple of weeks, the market here has just kind of been what do you call it? It's just been really back and forth. There's no like clear direction here. See, I was hoping that the momentum scalp would follow through right here, but it didn't. And this here didn't close either. So here on the 5 minute, when I mentioned the pivots rejections, or the wick rejection off the pivots, it has to actually close. So for this one right here, this 5 minute, we had the wick rejection off there, but it didn't actually close. It has about 2 minutes left on it. Yeah, crypto said it's been ass. Yeah, no, the market in general for the past couple of weeks is kind of it's been like inconsistent. Like even right now, if you look over here on the clear page with no markups, there's no direction, right? Price just keeps going back and forth. Like typically when market opens, price goes up or price goes down. But as you guys can see here, there's no direction. Price just keeps going back and forth. So the next entry here to come up is still the momentum scalp, but there's no sell signal yet. The reason why the entry is a momentum scalp is because you can't get another momentum scalp failure until you have a sell signal. So this entry came up over here. It already came through, hit TP. This right here, momentum scalp variation came through over here, hit TP2, blasted right through it, depending on when you made your entry. The next entry that would come up would be a momentum scalp, but there's still no sell signal to come up. Looking back over here on the 5. Let's see, Christian said his price went through TP and didn't close. It was probably because of the spread or the slippage, Christian. Yeah, because mine, it like barely tapped it. It pulled it out in TP and then it just ended up going, the other way. So now we got to be disciplined and wait for this to come back down or wait for it to come back up. I don't have any hint here or no indication that price is going to reverse because we don't have anything really indicating that price is actually going to come up. I mean, price is retracing right here, but we don't have any indication whether price is going to push up or whether it's going to continue dropping. There's no wick rejection off the top. There's no wick rejection off the bottom. The 5-minute over here has a pending buy signal. So this is one thing to possibly look out for. So like, for example, here, if you get a wick rejection off the bottom on the 5, and then you also get a wick rejection off the bottom on the 1, then it's probably going to push up to opening price. But looking over at the official entries, we're still looking for the momentum scalp. So realistically, the only thing that we're focusing on here is going to be that sell signal to come up, but it just hasn't come up yet. All right, so here we go as price comes back down slightly. $7.15 right now. We're getting a little closer to news price, guys. So as it gets closer to news, we got to be a bit careful with our entries here. As usual. Dejan said I was going to take that double body, but my candles don't match. Yeah, no. I'd probably hold off on it, Dejan. Okay, so we have a pending sell signal here. If the sell signal closes and the volume is above average, then it's one that could possibly play out. But if the volume here is below average or if it's invalid, it's probably going to be a risky entry because you guys can see there's no direction here. Right, we're trading these entries off momentum. So if we're looking for a sell signal here, we actually want momentum to be pushing in that direction. All right, so going back to what I was mentioning earlier. So, back to like what Parker was mentioning earlier about like calling these as official trades. It's hard for me to call these as official trades, these speculative moves, because right here we have a wick rejection off the pivot. We don't have one here off the 5, so criteria there is not met. As you guys can see, if I start to add more strategies to these live sessions, a lot of people are going to get very confused. That's why we're focusing on just these 3 here as official entries. The speculative moves can't be called as official entries because there's too many things to look at. So we're trying to keep things as simple as possible. And there's no entry here. So the main thing we're looking for, guys, this is the main strategy that needs to come up. The momentum scalp. None of these here can come up until this one here has come up. So we're looking for a sell signal here. Until we get that sell signal, there's really nothing for us to look at or even take here necessarily. Another thing I'd be looking at here is to see if this 5-minute closes with a wick rejection off the bottom. So if we have this here closed with the wick rejection off the bottom, then we can look for a wick rejection off here. And this could be the initiation for price to push up higher. Right. So this here has about 2 minutes left on it. What I'd like to see here on the one is price to possibly retrace down a little bit, reject off the pivot, and then push up a bit higher, or even push up a bit higher from where it's currently at to up here. Then once it gets to that point, retrace down a little bit, bounce off the pivot and push up higher. Because this will indicate that price is starting to push up. If that's the case, it's completely fine. There's nothing here for us to really take. As I mentioned, the main strategy that we're looking here on the 1 minute is going to be the momentum scalp. But since we don't have a sell signal, there's no momentum scalp, right? We need that sell signal to confirm this. If that's the case and price ends up pushing up higher, then that's completely fine because our trend can shift from sell to buy. We don't have to stay at a sell. So if that's the case, then price will just push up and then we'll look for, it'll restart, but in the opposite direction. So we'd be looking for momentum scalp failure instead of a momentum scalp. But yeah, the volume here has died down. There's not really much going on. So this is fine. If price pushes up like this is fine because we can still catch, well, we're not necessarily going to have any official entries, but we need to wait for this to push up. So in order for us to have buys here, guys, we need the 10 minutes to push up higher. So we need something like this to play out. Right. I don't know if we have enough time on the charts for that to happen for today because it's 7:20 already right now. But yeah, basically we need something like this to play out in order for us to have entry here. And I don't think we have enough time for that to actually play out. So we'll see if price corrects back up. If it doesn't, I think better case scenario is if price just stays down below. All right, price over here pushed up. We have the wick rejection here on the 5. Basically, what we're looking for here on this point now is I'm looking for the 1 minute here to possibly retrace down, provide a wick rejection off the pivot, and then continue up higher. Right. So while there's not going to be an official trade for us to take right here at this specific moment, there could be a possible speculative move if price comes back down for the retracement. So looking over here on the higher time frames, guys, as you guys can see, price isn't really doing anything. The 1 minute, 5 minute, 30 minute, etc., is still kind of going sideways. I mean, it's looking to retrace up. So you can see here on the 1 hour, price has a long way to go until it gets to the pivots. So we're definitely not going to get that here on the 1 hour anytime soon. It's a 1,500 pip move. So it's a long way to go. Same with the 30 minute over here. In order for price to get to the pivots, it's about 1,000 pip move. So what I'll be looking for here, and these are not going to be considered official moves. These are going to, because there's no official entries here. In order for us to have an official entry for a buy, all of these have to be up here. So price needs to be way up here. 5 minute price needs to be way up here. I mean, we might get this towards the end of the session, but I'm not going to count on it. The 10 minute has a long way to go. So looking at this candle right here, price needs to be, yeah, this is like a 3,000 pip move in order for the 10 minute to really reverse up to a buy. So two different scenarios here that can play out. Either price will come back down and then we can look for a sell here on the 1 minute, or price can push up continuously and confirm the reversal. But there's no, I don't think there's any way we'd have that unless this news, let me see what's happening at 7:30. It's just natural gas stock change. It's not a huge impact news event. So like for this here specifically, in order for us to have this really push up, there needs to be a really big push because this is at least a 3,000 pip move for it to get up here. So we're still looking for sells here, guys. I mean, best case scenario, price comes right back down. The only other scenario is the reversal, but in order for us to have a reversal, price needs to be like way up here on the 5. It needs to be way up here on the 10, which I don't think is going to happen in the next 30 minutes. So what I'll be doing here is I'll be looking for any possible speculative moves that you guys can possibly look for. But, you know, at the specific moment, there's just nothing for us to take right now. So if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, We'll keep looking for entries here, but as I mentioned, the only entry that we can really look for here is typically going to be a sell. But in order for us to have that, we need price to come right back down. Right, price is right here. If you measure where price is currently at to where it needs to be, in order for us to take a sell, price needs to drop at least 1,000 pips. In order for us to take a buy, price needs to push up at least 3,000 pips up here. So either way, it's in not a good area. It's right down the middle right here. And in order for us to take a buy, we need price to push up to confirm the reversal. But I don't really see this happening anytime soon. The best option we have here is price comes back down, retraces, and drops from this point, because this is a closer move for us. Instead of having to push up at least 3,000 pips, we can push down maybe 1,000 to 2,000 pips right here, and then it could be in sell territory. But at the moment, we just don't have that yet. So we'll keep watching. But yeah, if there's any questions that you guys have or anything that you guys are confused with, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I think one of the most confusing things here may be the speculative moves, specifically for the newer traders. If you guys are a new trader, don't even bother with the speculative moves, right? If you guys haven't figured out the official entries here and haven't really got this stuff down, then don't even bother looking at speculative moves. Most of the time, I don't even mention the speculative moves, but recently I've just been showing to you guys what I'm looking for, like my thought process behind it, because of course you guys are going to be curious, how am I making all these other trades when there's no official entries coming up here? So there's a possible entry here for a momentum scalp. However, the overall sell bias and it's still at the red flag. So this here would technically be the momentum scalp that we were looking for, guys. However, it's not one that we're necessarily looking to take because, again, as you guys can see, it's right at the red flags, right? So let me mark this up for you guys real quick. There are a ton of red flags over here. So this here is a momentum scalp entry, but it's right at opening price. So unfortunately, we can't take this entry here as an official entry. So, I think one of the main things that a lot of people get confused with, specifically, I don't know if Nick's here. Are you still here, Nick? So the thing with Nick over here is that he keeps asking if these are specifically, or I tell him it's not an official entry, but he still takes them, right? So, the reason why this here is not an official entry is because the red flag, right? In order for it to be an official entry, the requirements have to be met. And on top of that, there can't be any red flags here, right? There's an obvious red flag. When to avoid trades when price is near opening price. This blue line right here is opening price. So while there was a sell signal here, and while volume was above average, which is one that I would typically take, the main reason why I wouldn't have taken this as an official entry, or even one that I would find to be safe, is because price is at opening price, right? So that's the difference between an official trade that we would take here on the live versus one that would be an official strategy, but not one that would be considered an official trade, because the requirements for the strategy are met. The only problem here is that there's an obvious red flag, right? Price can't be anywhere near these horizontal lines. So just keep that in mind, guys. I try to keep things as simple as possible, but obviously, people here ask certain questions that will confuse you. Specifically, like if people want the speculative moves and they want them to be official entries, speculative moves will never be an official entry because they don't fit criteria. They're speculative moves for a reason. So just keep that in mind, guys. Oh, thanks. Christian also mentioned that there's a buy signal here on the 5. So this here actually wouldn't be a momentum scalp. Says for one, there's a red flag, price is at opening price. And then for two, there is no momentum signal on the 5-minute. So thanks, Christian, for mentioning that. I didn't even notice that until you mentioned it. So yeah, big props for that there, to give everyone that, obviously heads up. Let's see, Steve over here mentioned, I like when you mention speculative moves. I like to hear your thought process. It helps me with my learning curve and understand that they are not official trades. Yeah, and that's exactly why I'm calling them out here, guys. They're speculative because you're speculative, right? If they were official, then they'd be called official, but there's no official strategy for them. They're just entries where I can see where price is going, but they don't meet the criteria here for being an official strategy. So just keep that in mind, guys. I know sometimes you guys will probably get FOMO when you guys see other people profiting. But again, we talked about this in the past. FOMO is a personal problem. It's not it's not something that you can blame on somebody else, right? You can't blame me for taking speculative moves and then tell me that I'm teaching you FOMO. I'm literally telling you not to take the trade. So if you're taking the trade and then you're calling it FOMO and you're saying that you're getting FOMO because of me, that's not my problem. That's a personal problem. So just keep that in mind, guys. The thing with trading is that the market's not against you, right? It's always you against you. And the thing that happens with a lot of people who trade or people who are new to trading is they always look for someone to blame, right? If they lose a trade, who do they blame? The teacher. If they lose a trade, who do they blame? Market manipulation. They look for someone to blame, everyone except themselves. But realistically, the market doesn't force you to take any trade. It's you forcing yourself to take a trade. So whenever you guys lose a trade, you guys got to take responsibility for that loss, especially if it's a trade that I told you not to take, because that's probably the worst thing. That's like one of the most annoying things that I hear a lot of the times is where someone loses the trade, but I literally tell someone this is a speculative move. This is not an official entry. If it's an official entry and I'm like, okay, take this trade and you lose, then yeah, of course, I'll take responsibility for that. But if I'm telling you it's a speculative trade and I say, don't take this trade because there's a red flag, and then you still take the trade and then you try to blame me for it, that was not my fault. That was obviously your fault, right? Because I'm like trying to be as clear and as as direct as possible. If I say it's an official trade and I'm telling you, okay, I'm looking for this trade to close and I'm taking it and that trade loses, 100% that's my fault. But if I'm telling you there's a red flag here, or volume is below average, then I'm not taking the trade right away. I'm telling you that for a reason. I'm not telling you that and then sending you a cryptic message telling you that, okay, you should probably take this, because I'm literally saying not to take it. And when I say not to take it, that means you should probably not take it. Yeah, Patrick said, I blame you every day for making me profit, Sean. No, that's funny. It's the, it's just the thing with trading, guys. I've trained a lot of people how to trade, and it's the same cycle. You're going to get a couple people who are just looking to blame everyone for everything that happens. And there's people who take responsibility and they actually grow from it. So again, guys, there's no entries for us to take here, unfortunately. There was a couple entries that came up today, but other than that, there's nothing for us to take. There's not even any speculative moves here to take right now either. A couple of things here to look out for possibly would be, these wick rejections, but we have news right here on this candle. So it's 7:30 right now. Let me go to markup news price. News price is right there. And it looks good for the most part. So for a lot of people who have problems with trade psychology, guys, there's a couple books here. So let me just put the books up here if I can find them. I'm going to look up a couple books here, or not look them up, but I'm going to show you guys. So I'm going to show you guys these books that you guys should probably take a look at, books that I highly recommend, that I'm even listening to myself, right? So there's a new book that I'm listening to. It's called The Daily Trading Coach. I think this is a good book as well. So there's three main books here that you guys should probably look at if you guys want to like step up your trade psychology and just better yourself in trading. So this is a book that I'm currently listening to right now, The Daily Trading Coach by Brett Steenberger. This book's really good. This is really going to show you guys, it's going to show you who you really are as a trader, because he's going to mention a lot of issues that you guys run into with trading. And this book here is definitely helping me get better with consistency. One Good Trade by Mike Bellafiore. This is another great book. This guy runs like one of the best prop firms in the US, like basically one of the longest running prop firms that's that pretty much survived the crash, and they trade exactly how we do. One Good Trade a Day, right, by Mike Bellafiore. So this guy is the one of the co-founders and co-owners of S&B Capital. This is a good book, One Good Trade, The Daily Trading Coach, and obviously, the classic here, Trading in the Zone. So these are the three main books that you guys should listen to if you have a problem with trade psychology, problem following directions, problem blaming people for all your mistakes, right? If you guys read these books here, you'll come to a realization that, trading it's really up to you, right? Whenever you guys make a decision taking a trade, you got to own up to it. You got to own up to all the wins. You got to own up to all the losses. That's the only way that you guys will get better at trading. Because if you look for something or someone to blame for all of your mistakes, you're never going to get past that. You're just going to be in an endless cycle of doing okay for a little bit and then failing and then looking for something or someone to blame, and then just keep going that same cycle over and over again. So. All right, there's no entries for us to take here, guys. Obviously we've been looking for an entry here for a momentum scalp, but there's just nothing for us to take here. Price is still looking like a sell here on the 5 and 10 because price is below the pivots, trend meters red. Pivots are still angling down. However, looking at this here on the 1 and 5, price is starting to push up slightly, but we don't have any wick rejections off the bottom or wick rejections off the top. So the main thing that we're looking for here, with regard to speculative moves, meaning that I'm expecting a bounce to happen, is if we get a wick rejection off the bottom here and a wick rejection off the bottom here on the 5. So those are the main things I'm kind of looking for right here. But all in all, there's nothing for us to take right now. Unfortunately, there's just this market for the entire week has kind of been trash. Monday was a good day, actually. Monday was like the only smooth day that we've kind of had all week. Yesterday and the day before that, price has just been going sideways. As you guys can see, there's not really much going on here, right? It's a back and forth movement. So if I was to draw the range over here, this is pretty much the range. So there's not really much going on here, guys. Price is just going sideways. Still no wick rejection off any of these time frames here. So there isn't even a speculative move here just yet, or nothing confirming that price is likely to push up or push down further. All right. Gary said, love the consistency you follow. Sean, kudos. Yeah, definitely, Gary. Thanks. Glenn's asking, are the prices on MT4 and TradingView different? Yeah, they're going to be different. They're going to definitely be different. So here's the thing too. So back to your question, Glenn. So the reason why they're different is because the pricing is set by different brokers, right? Or different platforms. So like, for example, here, the data on my TradingView YM, this is the most accurate data that you'll get for the most part, because this data is directly from the exchange. So price right here on YM, because I'm getting this data directly from the Chicago Board of Trade, it's currently at 33,876. If you're looking on MT4, I don't know what broker you're using on MT4. If you're using FTMO, price is currently at 33,844. So it's off by like 30 points. Because the brokers set their own price. So, if you type in US30 here, you could pull up any of these brokers here and they're all going to have a different price because each broker sets their own pricing. But the closest price point to raw data would be this here, the YM, because this is the actual future. And I'm pulling this data from the, exchange. Let's see, Johnny's asking, should we buy YM for our TradingView? So it's not like super necessary, Johnny, because if you're on the live session, you have my screens up, but it would be preferred and recommended, right? Because obviously you want to have the fastest data available. For me personally, I barely started using YM. I think it's only been like a couple of months since I started using YM. I should have been using this from the beginning, but the reason why we started using it was because the other broker data here, this stuff's all like a lot of the times a couple months ago, it started to like freeze up and the data wasn't good. So you can see here that the data here is pretty smooth, right? The volume is perfect. Everything lines up. Everything kind of moves smoothly. On these other free data sets, like the one that we used to use, currency.com, it would freeze up. So like for a couple seconds, the market would just freeze. And that's a huge red flag for us if we're scalping, because, you know, we have to know exactly what's going on at all times. So that's the reason why I started using this. But I think, you know, if you don't want to pay for it, currency.com is still fine. It's just you're not going to get the best data. Like, you're going to have the chart's going to freeze up on you sometimes. Sometimes it's going to lag. Pricing is going to be off because they set their own pricing. So, you know, obviously you're going to run into a couple pitfalls. But, you know, if you want the best data, then yeah, I would definitely recommend buying YM, although it's not required. Glenn is asking, I mean, the candlesticks are different earlier around 7:15. So let's see, 7:15 over here. Well, I mean, it goes back to the broker data. The broker data is always going to be different too, Glenn. So it's the same with what I mentioned with regard to price. The broker data is still going to be different because the broker still sets their data. So I'm looking over here at 7:15. I can see where the candles are a little different. Actually, I don't know. The candles look fine to me. Which broker data are you on, Glenn? Because I'm using FTMO for my MT4 and it looks fine to me. I don't really see a huge difference. I mean, I do see the candles here might be slightly off, but it's like this one here. The difference is that you see on MT4, I can see a wick. Like it's like a doji candle right here, but right here's a full body. So I think that might be what you're referring to, right, Glenn? So this candle, or actually, no, it looks fine to me. Let me check again. Yeah, no, my candles look for the most part the same. I thought it looked different to me, but it looks the same now that I'm looking closer. Because this, or let me see, you said 7:15 actually. Yeah, no, it looks fine to me, Glenn. I'm looking over here at 7:15, or sorry, I keep getting. Okay, I see it. Yeah, it's like slightly off. Like it looks like this candle over here is kind of merged on FTMO. But you can see here, I think there was a data gap on FTMO right there within a few seconds. But this data here would be the most accurate because this is directly from the exchange. So this data is directly from the exchange. It's not manipulated at any point. This is just raw price. All right, so it looks like price is attempting to shift back up, but we don't have that wick rejection off the bottom. So I don't really have a confirmation that price is actually going to keep pushing up just yet, right? We have a wick rejection right here that's currently pending or possibly coming up, but there isn't necessarily anything here for us to take just yet. So yeah, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. It's 7:41 right now. We have about 20 minutes till 8. But there's nothing for us to take right now. We're still in a sell bias because price is still below the pivots, but you can see here on the 5 that price is attempting to shift to the upside. Looking here on the higher time frames, price is still pushing up, so it's still got a ways to go. So target price point here on the 1 hour is going to be the pivot. Same with here on the 30-minute target price point is going to be the 30, and then same here on the 10. Well, 10 price is already above. So it's really just looking for confluence for where direction is leading to, but there's just no direction right now. Martha's question is, when we mark news price, do we mark news price on open or close? You mark it on the open of the candle, Martha. So for example, over here at 7:30, we had news price dropped and it was a red candle, so you'd mark it from the top, and then vice versa. If price, for example, if it was a green candle, you'd mark it from the bottom. So always mark up news price from opening price. The reason why you're marking it up from opening price is because you're looking to identify how price reacted to the news. So mark it up, the news candle opened right here, and you can see after the news candle opened, price reacted to the downside, and then it corrected right back up. Yeah, no problem, Martha. Good questions. Let's see if there's anything else here. So there's still nothing for us to take here, guys, at all. Not even a speculative move in my opinion. The speculative moves that I'm looking for these bounces off the pivots because I can catch a quick 100 pips, but there is no speculative moves here for me specifically. The 10-minute here is rejecting off the pivot now. So if we start to get a bunch of bottom wick rejections here on the 10 and on the 5, then this is a hint that price is likely to push up higher. This is just like basic price action, right? So price action is just how price reacts when price gets near certain price points. So the certain price point that we're looking at here is going to be the pivot. The cool thing about the pivots that I've created is that they're dynamic. They don't just stay at a specific, in a specific price point. They continue to move along as price continues to push. So let's see. Gotcha. It's all good, Maria. So Maria said she took a loss in the variation because she entered late and she used a 1030 split with her TP stop loss, which is perfectly fine. Looks like you're only down by a little bit. So you have like one more win and you'll make it back into profit. Sorry, Martha. What was I calling? Was I calling you something else? My bad. Maria. Sorry. Yeah, no, Martha. Yeah, because your name comes up as, well, your name is Martha, obviously, on here. But when Maria types in as well, her name's also in blue. So I always get it mixed up. Sorry. Oh, gosh. Okay. So Maria is actually your middle name. Yeah, my bad. Sorry, Martha. But yeah, no, you're only down by like one trade, it looks like. So, you have one more win for 100 pips, and then you should make it right back into profit. And that's the key thing with these trades here, guys. So like whenever we take these trades here, you guys got to look at the longer term picture. Whenever you guys eat a loss, think about, okay, what do you need to do next to should bring yourself back into profit? Looking over here at Martha's profits, she's only down by like less than $1,000. So one more win, and then she's back into profit. All right, so looking at where price is currently at right now, guys, it looks like price may be shifting back down. I mean, there's no... All right, so what I'm looking for here is I see the wick rejection right here on the 5. And I see a possible wick rejection right here on the 1, right? So if this ends up closing right there, then my guess is that price is going to push back down and retest the sessions down below. It's kind of where I'm expecting price to go. This candle has about like 20 seconds left on it. So we'll see how this closes here. And this is just me speculating as to where price is likely to go from here. So if it rejects off the pivot there, and this is how I use the pivots to determine, these speculative moves, because it gives you a little idea as to where price is likely to push, just enough for you to get 100 pips, right? Because whenever you're taking these speculative moves, you're not necessarily holding them for too long. You're kind of just getting in and then watching it push in that direction. But yeah, that's why they're speculative, because there's no guarantee that they're going to keep pushing that direction. It's just, and this candle here, I mean, it didn't close very well. I was hoping it'd close as a nice red candle, and then it would just push back down to the sessions here, because the setup that I was, well, not really setup, but the thing that I was looking for this to play out was a possible retracement back down further, and then bounce off the sessions and then continue back up, right? Because that's kind of what happens. Like whenever you guys look at where price is pushing around, these horizontal lines typically act as like magnets. So you can see, like, for example, here, price dropped below, came back for the retest, and then dropped back lower. Price pushed above, retested right here, and then pushed back up higher. But I mean, there's no direction here. As you guys can see, there's really no direction as to where price is going. It's still pretty much going sideways. If you look over here on the clean chart, price did push above, but realistically, it's not really going, it's not going anywhere specific, right? Market open over here at 630. Price kind of pushed up a little bit, faked out, pushed down, faked out, pushed back up, faked out, pushed back to the middle, and it just keeps going back and forth. So looking over here on the higher time frames, there's not really much of a direction set just yet as to where we can anticipate price to go. However, looking at this on the 10-minute, this looks like price might be making its way back up higher. But again, there's no confirmation. Basically, that's why all these official strategies here, guys, we look for overall trend, which we just don't have right now. Looking over here on the 1, 5, and 10, currently right now, this is all neutral. So the 5 minutes neutral, 10 minutes neutral, because it's right in between the pivots, but there hasn't really been a confirmation as to like where price is likely to go just yet. Let's see, Kevin mentioned, I think it's going to retest 34,000, the whole number. Yeah, I could see that. Looking over here on the higher time frames, let me see where it's at. Yeah, 34,000 is around where the pivots are sitting. So I could see that happening too. Right. So looking over here on the 34,000 right there. Yeah, it's pretty much perfect price point for it to come up and continue pushing. Or, price can come back and retrace before that even happens, right? So looking at where Kevin is looking for retracement, 34,000, that is right at the pivots, which is solid price point for it to reach. But for now, there's still no direction. It's 7:50 right now, guys. So it's 10 minutes till 8. I don't really see anything happening on the chart right now. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. There's no official entries that we can take because the first requirement has to be met, right? First requirement for any strategy here is to confirm the overall trend. However, there's no overall trend right now. So first requirement, confirm overall trend on the 1, 5, and 10. Looking over here on the 1 minute, price is currently bullish because price is above the pivots, trend meter is green, and the pivots are angling up. Looking back over here on the 5, there's no confirmation here. Price is still technically bearish because the trend meter down below is red. However, the pivots here are just, it's right down the middle, right? Pivots are not really angling up or angling down. They're just going sideways. So realistically, there's no direction here with regard to trend. We can't really look for buys. We can't really look for sells because there's no direction. There's no confirmation of direction of price. So at the moment, it's nothing for us to take right here, guys. It's just a waiting game. Maria, so I said Maria again. Martha's asking, so it's best practice to always enter with a high TP stop loss and moving in profit? No. Not sure where, so where did you get that from, Martha? Because I've never said that. So I'm not sure where you got that from. It's fine if you've heard it somewhere else. I'm just curious because it's definitely not for me. I've never mentioned to enter with a high TP stop loss and move stop loss and profit. If you're day trading and swing trading, then yeah, that would make sense. But you're scalping here, so you don't have time to move your stop loss and profit. Yeah, no, because if your TP is 100 pips, how much closer can you move your stop loss and profit, right? For scalping. Because if your TP is 100 pips, it's going to hit your TP and you're out of the trade. Here, let's see. Yeah, so Martha said I lost a variation because my TP stop loss was incorrect and I entered late, so it stopped you out. So looking back at that, what was your main mistake, right? Entering the trade late. So in the future, just don't enter the trade late. If you miss the trade, it's fine. Just wait for the next one. But, looking at that from that perspective, like whenever you guys lose a trade, I always find it important and useful to document your trades. So like whenever you guys take a trade, you can have a spreadsheet or something with like the trade time, the trade entry, the direction of trade, notes regarding your trade. And if you guys start to journal your trades, you guys will start to realize like where your problem is. If your problem is losing majority of your trades because of FOMO, then fix the FOMO, right? If you're losing the trades because you're entering late, then don't enter the trades late. That's the main way to get better at solving, whatever type of issue you have with trading. And it goes back to what I was mentioning before. It all comes down to like really realizing what your problem is with trading. If your problem is like losing trades because you're speculative, then don't take any speculative trades. That's the key thing that I can really, advise you guys about, because realistically, that's all that you guys can do to get better. because I can't force you guys to do better, right? You guys have to like make the change for that. Let me see. Yeah, so Martha said if it would have entered on time, it would have hit TP. Yeah, I think that's the same thing that happened with Christian as well, Martha. So it sounds like both of you guys here kind of entered a little late on that entry earlier for the variation, and then you just barely missed it. Probably because of the spread, um, and then probably because of your entry price, because you were probably just off by a few pips to like reach your profit target, but it just missed it slightly, and that's going to happen. So in the future, just make sure that you either enter right away or you just skip the trade in general. Yeah, exactly. Crypto said don't celebrate your wins and don't overanalyze your losses equals success. Yeah, and I agree with crypto 100%. That's why whenever I take a trade, guys, like especially these speculative moves, I don't really care too much, right? Like my mind isn't really set on like focusing on these speculative moves. Whenever I see these speculative moves here, I'm kind of just watching it. And then if it hits, then it hits. If it doesn't hit, then it doesn't hit. You don't see me like overreacting whenever I win a trade or whenever I lose a trade. It's kind of just I'm trading like a robot. I'm trading with no emotion. And I think that's the best way to really get really good at trading, guys. You guys have to learn how to trade like a robot. As funny as it sounds, that's really how it should be. Because if you trade without emotion, you can just enter a buy here, it'll hit your TP, and then you can enter a sell there and it'll hit your TP. And then you're just at the end of the day, you're going to look at your account and you're like, dang, I really locked in like this much profit from just from just taking these types of trades here. So yeah, just keep that in mind, guys. Trade psychology is going to be like your number one thing to work on if you want to be a consistently profitable trader long term. Let's see. Yeah, Kevin said that's his analysis. He's been taking speculative buys and they're hitting. Yeah, no, definitely. See that. So there's a possible speculative buy here. I'm just noticing it right now. Obviously I'm not in the position, but another speculative buy there because it rejected off the pivot and stuff. But yeah, Kevin here is still trying to reach his target up there of 34,000. Yeah, no, I could see it coming up there too. Kevin, there's a wick rejection off like a lot of these time frames too over here, so I'm expecting it to possibly push back up. Because now looking at this here, so here's the hint that I think price is going to start pushing up higher even from where it's currently at. Wick rejection right there. Wick rejection right there. And this just goes to my speculation as to like where I think price will go. There's no specific strategy for this. This is just me speculating that, okay, there's a rejection off these points. So price is likely to push up at least 100 pips or like, to a certain point where you can lock in some profit. I'm not in this position. I was just marking it up and telling you guys because the possibility of the push to the upside is likely. The only thing here is the higher time frame. So the higher time frames here still haven't reached the pivots. This is probably going to be like one of the main things to look out for here, obviously. You would need the higher time frames to lead, because the higher time frames are always going to lead, right? The thing where I would start looking out for or be careful for is when price gets near the pivots here, because if you get a wick rejection off the top on the 1 hour and 30, but then you get a bottom rejection on the lower time frames, then there's going to be a lot of uncertainty as to like where price is likely to go from that point. But yeah, I mean, at the moment right now, there's just nothing for us to take. I mean, there hasn't been anything for us to take for a while now. And it is about to be 8 o'clock. So if there's any other questions, guys, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Unfortunately, today's just been kind of choppy. I mean, it's been like this all week. The only good day that was really smooth was Monday. But other than that, there hasn't been really too much for us to really trade off here because of the conditions. So I'm hoping next week's going to be a lot better. Next week is a holiday, guys. So just an FYI, I want to give you guys a heads up. Next Monday is President's Day. So market's going to be closed. It's a bank holiday. on Monday. So we're not going to have a live session on Monday, guys. Just want to give you guys a heads up before that happens. But that's basically what we're looking at right now. So next Monday, bank holiday, market's going to be closed. And then on Tuesday, it looks like we have flash services, manufacturing as well, PMI, just some more inflation news, existing home sales Wednesday. So next week is Fed week. We have Fed meeting minutes on a Wednesday, prelim GDP, unemployment claims, core PCE price index, just a lot of inflation news. A lot of inflation news and the Fed meetings next week. All right, back to the chart, guys. There's still nothing for us to take here. I still think price will push back up. I think price is retracing right here, but I think price will eventually just, push back up at some point. But it wouldn't really matter because there's nothing for us to take here. It's about to be 8 o'clock. So I don't recommend people trade after 8 unless like absolutely necessary. If you have to trade, like say if you're on your last day of your challenge or something, then I guess you could trade if you really needed to. But for the most part, there's just no direction here. And then in order for there to be a direction, there needs to be an actual big push. So let me check the news real quick for today, if there's anything coming on after the live session. There really isn't much. There's Fed member Cook speaking at 1 o'clock, but the market will be closed by then. Looking over here at my FX book, there's an 8-week bond auction, I believe. Yeah, 8-week bill auction, 4-week bill auction later today at 8:30, but it's not enough to really push price around. We have 30-year tips auction at 10 o'clock, which is low impact. And we have Fed member Bullard speaking at 10:30. So actually we have the Fed speaking later today, which will probably push price, in a certain direction. But I mean, for the most part, not really too much to base things off here. Here's a clean chart. As you guys can see from 6:30 to 8, there wasn't really much of a push. Price barely pushed up from this opening price, 700 pips. That's nothing, right? Typically, you want at least 1,500 pips per market open. But for today, you can see price only pushed down about less than 1,000 pips and then pushed up less than 1,000 pips. So the volatility for today was not very high at all. Very slow market, very sideways market, nothing for us to really base trades off. If you guys took that speculative move that I was mentioning earlier with the buy, it looks like it just hit TP. So if you guys remembered earlier right here, I mentioned the wick rejection off the pivot right here off the one. So there was a wick rejection right here, wick rejection right there, wick rejection right there. That was the hint that price was going to push up, and look where price went. It pushed right back up. So, and a speculative move right there that we were looking for. Bottom wick projection across all 3 time frames, retraced down a little bit, but it pushed right through and blasted right through the TP. So if you guys took the speculative move there, great. Obviously not going to count towards the official results because it's not an official trade. There was only 2 official trades from today. Looking over here at the profits for the day, we have Seth over here, total profit of 12,390, all wins. Nice work, Seth. John just posted this right here in the group. Eunice over here as well. So Eunice missed the first trade, didn't take it, so it's all good. Took the next trade over here, total profit of 66 for the day. So nice work, Eunice. He took that speculative buy that I just marked up. So this one over here that I mentioned to you guys, that wick rejection off the bottom, Eunice over here took it, locked in 66 off that. Nice work, Eunice. Patrick over here as well, total profit of 2,643. Nice work, Patrick. And then we have John over here. He took that trade earlier this morning. He was had a small loss from the buy that he took. And then he took another trade over here, bounced back from that. And now he's back in profit. So he took the trade right here, total profit of 285. Nice recovery off that loss earlier this morning, Dijon. Yeah, it's all about consistency, guys. So like looking at this right here, if you guys don't let that loss bother you and you keep trading, you'll make it back, with time. So solid work right there, Dijon. Here's Kip. Kip's total profits 2,029 for the day. Nice work, Kip. Scrolling down further, we have Sisuk over here, total profit of 7,620 for the day. Solid work, Sisuk. Natasha over here, she was up earlier, 1,016. Nice work. And then another profit right here on Natasha's account, total profit of 1,292. So solid work right there, Natasha, all wins. Maddie over here took the buy right there. It was a high-low scalp, but it also lined up with my speculative buy over there. So Maddie over here, total profit about about 3,000 for the day. Solid work, Maddie. We have David over here. He said working to pass his challenge first day on the 5K account. He doesn't like these types of market, but he's currently up 550 for the day. So solid work right there, David. Yeah, slow growth from that point. Sorry, Jay, I just saw your message over here. You said it looks different from my 1 minute chart. Here, let me go over here real quick. Let me see what he was mentioning. So it was at 7:10 earlier today. So let me look at his chart right here. Jay, are you on the YM chart? I'm assuming you're on a different chart because I mean, that's the only thing that I could assume. That chart data is different. Yeah, if you guys pull up chart data from like different brokers and stuff here. So if you type in US30, you'll see that like some of these are going to have different candles because they're all different chart data. Some of it's slower, some of it's faster. The most raw data that you can get would be YM, but you have to pay for it, of course. All right, other than that, I think that's about it, guys. So let's see. Karen said, thanks, Sean. Have a great day, y'all. Definitely, Karen. We'll see you back here tomorrow. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to message me or email me. You guys can email me at sean@kodikaitrades.com, or you guys can message me on Telegram. A couple more profits over here. CT is currently up about 1,500 for the day. Solid work, CT. Kevin over here currently up 9,695. Solid. Nice work, Kevin. And then I think that's it. If you guys have more profits, feel free to post them up, and then I will add them to the charts over here and to the postings for later today. However, there's just nothing for us to take right now, guys, not even with regard to speculative moves. There's no wick rejections off these points here. So there's just nothing for us to really look at or take at the moment. It's just, a continued push around. So hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit smoother. I know tomorrow's Friday. Let me check the news real quick to see if there's anything there. There's actually not really much news tomorrow. We have Fed member Bowman speaking pre-market at 5:45. So hopefully he'll cause price to move around a little bit, but not really any high impact news. It seems like a lot of people might be taking the week off early this week as well due to the holiday on Monday. So, all right, guys, other than that, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live session. So have a great rest of your day, guys.